of Göbekli Tepe, A, B, C, D, numbered in order of their discovery, and D is a best preserved ones with a diameter of about 20 meters from east to west, and with pillars in situ since around 12,000 years. And with very high pillars, the central ones here have a height of 5.50 meters.
What if I told you a warning was carved into stone 12,000 years ago, and it wasn't meant for the people of that time? Buried under a hill in Turkey, it waited millennia for someone who could understand it.
Şanlıurfa, Turkey, October 1994. While plowing his field, shepherd Savak Yildiz spots a strangely shaped stone protruding from the ground.
In 2025, AI scanned the site with impossible precision. And what it found didn't just rewrite history, it predicted cycles of catastrophe, hidden in patterns that shouldn't exist yet. Could we be heading toward the next one? And are we even ready to see it coming? The impossible site. Let me show you why everything we thought we knew about human history is wrong. The site is called Göbekli Tepe. It sits on a hilltop near the city of Şanlıurfa in southeastern Turkey. When German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began excavating it in 1995, he uncovered something that should not exist: a massive temple complex built around 9,600 BCE. That is 11,600 years ago. To understand what that means, you need context. Stonehenge was built around 3000 BCE. The Egyptian pyramids date to around 2500 BCE. Göbekli Tepe predates both of them by more than 6,000 years. It was constructed before pottery, before the wheel, before metalworking, before agriculture itself. According to every model of human development we had, this was impossible. The site consists of at least 20 circular enclosures, each featuring massive T-shaped limestone pillars arranged in rings. These are not crude stone slabs hammered together by primitive people. They are precisely carved monoliths, standing up to 18 feet tall and weighing between 10 and 50 tons each.
We're actually going to see the unfinished monolith, one of the largest T-shaped pillars, which would have stood at between 22 and 24 feet tall. And so this is something I tried to find last year, failed miserably.
Decorated with intricate relief carvings of lions, foxes, scorpions, vultures, and snakes, executed with artistic sophistication that rivals work created thousands of years later. Some pillars have arms carved into their sides with hands meeting at the front, suggesting they represent stylized human figures. Giant stone guardians watching over whatever rituals took place within these circles. The conventional explanation goes like this. Nomadic hunter-gatherers, motivated by religious fervor, came together periodically to build this temple. They used stone tools to carve the pillars from bedrock. They transported them up the hill using ropes and wooden rollers. They erected them through sheer manpower and determination. And then, for reasons unknown, they deliberately buried the entire complex around 8000 BCE, preserving it perfectly for modern discovery. That story worked well enough when all we had were surface observations and educated guesses. But then came the AI analysis, and the AI does not care about convenient explanations. What the scans revealed. The breakthrough came from a team of German and Turkish researchers who conducted the most comprehensive survey ever attempted of the limestone quarries surrounding Göbekli Tepe. Using ground-penetrating radar and high-resolution three-dimensional laser scanning, they created a complete digital twin of the entire site. Every groove, every tool, mark. Every surface texture captured down to fractions of a millimeter. They identified over 350 extraction sites within a 2-kilometer radius of the main temple complex. Ancient quarries where pillars were carved from living rock and somehow transported to the hilltop. At several sites, they discovered partially extracted T-shaped pillars still attached to the bedrock.
The large T-shaped pillar, which has the person with the loincloth on it, is on a very decoratively carved platform carved directly out of the limestone bedrock.
Ancient works in progress frozen in time. One pillar, designated QP47, remains about 70% freed from the surrounding limestone. It lies on its side and weighs an estimated 65 tons. That would make it the heaviest pillar yet discovered at Göbekli Tepe. Never finished, never moved, just sitting there as a monument to ambition that somehow exceeded even their extraordinary capabilities. The researchers fed every scan, every image, every measurement into advanced neural networks trained to recognize patterns in stonework. What the computer vision algorithms detected changed everything. Under microscopic analysis and three-dimensional surface scanning, the AI identified at least 3 distinct techniques used in the carving process. The first technique involved hard stone mauls, essentially hammer stones, used to pound the limestone in a method called pecking. This is well documented at other prehistoric sites and fits the time period. Nothing unusual there. But the second technique shows something else entirely. Along the edges where pillars were being separated from the bedrock, the AI found evidence of extremely precise linear cuts. We are talking about cuts measuring only 2 to 3 millimeters wide and extending in perfectly straight lines for over 1 meter. The precision is extraordinary. The deviation from straight over that distance is less than 1 millimeter. The lead researcher stated that the precision of these cuts exceeds what they would expect from stone tools used in a pecking or grinding motion. The linearity suggests either an extremely controlled technique they do not understand, or a cutting method that leaves a different signature than anything predicted by conventional archaeology. The AI compared these marks to thousands of known tool signatures from the Neolithic period. It found no matches. 0. The cut patterns do not correspond to any documented Stone Age technology. The third technique may be the most baffling of all. The AI-enhanced scanning revealed evidence of thermal shock fracturing at multiple extraction sites that had been previously missed by human observers. The algorithms detected scorch marks and heat-discolored limestone directly adjacent to the extraction cuts. Patterns invisible to the naked eye but clear in spectral analysis. Chemical analysis of these areas revealed heating temperatures between 400 and 600 degrees Celsius. Hot enough to alter the crystalline structure of the limestone itself. The theory is that builders used fire to heat specific areas of the stone, then applied cold water rapidly. The thermal shock would cause fractures along predetermined lines, allowing for controlled splitting of the rock. This sounds plausible until you consider the level of control required. Limestone fractures unpredictably under thermal shock unless you understand its internal structure intimately. How the layers are oriented, where natural faults lie, how different densities respond to heat. Modern stonemasons can do this because they have geological surveys, decades of experience, and the ability to test techniques repeatedly on sample stones. We are being asked to believe that hunter-gatherers at the dawn of civilization developed the same intimate knowledge without any visible learning curve. There are no practice pillars. No failed attempts. No evidence of trial and error. The pillars at Göbekli Tepe appear fully formed in technique and execution, as if the builders already knew exactly what they were doing from day one. The impossible timeline. The AI analysis revealed something that deepens the mystery even further. When the neural networks mapped the progression of tool marks across different quarry sites, attempting to establish a timeline of extraction, they found something unexpected. Several quarries show evidence of pillar extraction that appears to predate the earliest confirmed structures at Göbekli Tepe by potentially hundreds of years. This is based on comparative weathering analysis, examining how exposed limestone surfaces degrade over time and comparing that degradation to dated surfaces elsewhere. The differential is significant enough to raise serious questions. If pillars were being carved centuries before the temples were built, where were they stored? Were there earlier structures that have not been found yet? Or is our dating of Göbekli Tepe itself fundamentally wrong? But here is what truly disturbs the researchers. The AI analyzed the quality and sophistication of stonework across the site, measuring precision of cuts, complexity of reliefs, and technical difficulty of execution. What it found contradicts how we expect civilizations to develop. The earliest layers at Göbekli Tepe feature the largest, most precisely carved pillars with the most sophisticated artwork. Later layers show smaller pillars with cruder carvings and less ambitious construction. The quality degrades over time. This is the exact opposite of what you would expect from a civilization learning and improving their craft. It looks more like inheritance and decline. Later, people reused, imitated, and eventually buried a site they did not fully understand, attempting to maintain traditions and techniques that were slowly slipping away from them. Think about what this pattern means. In every other ancient site we have studied, we see improvement over time. The Egyptians built increasingly sophisticated pyramids as their techniques advanced. The Greeks developed more refined architecture with each generation. But at Göbekli Tepe, we see the reverse. The best work came first. It is as if someone hit a reset button on human knowledge, and everything that came after was just an attempt to remember what had been lost. The physics problem. The AI's most shocking findings came when it started analyzing not just how the pillars were made, but how they could have possibly been moved and erected. The closest quarry sits about 100 meters from the main site. The farthest is nearly 2 kilometers away, with significant elevation changes between the extraction point and the hilltop temple. Researchers proposed that pillars were transported using wooden sledges, rollers, and plant fiber ropes, with hundreds of people providing pulling force. They cite experimental archaeology where teams of 300 to 400 modern volunteers successfully moved multi-ton stones short distances using similar methods. But the AI revealed a critical problem with this comparison that human observers had missed. Those experimental stones were roughly shaped blocks, not delicate carved pillars with intricate relief sculptures. The T-pillars at Göbekli Tepe have carvings that protrude 5 to 10 centimeters from the surface. The AI ran thousands of physics simulations modeling different transport scenarios. Dragging a pillar on its side over rocky terrain subjects those carvings to enormous stress. The computer model showed a 97% probability of significant damage to relief details under proposed transport methods. Yet the three-dimensional scans show no evidence of transportation damage. The details are pristine, as sharp and clear as the day they were carved 12,000 years ago. Either the carvings were added after erection, which seems impossible given that some are on surfaces inaccessible once the pillar stands upright, or the builders had a transportation method sophisticated enough to protect carved details during movement, a method we cannot identify or explain. The physics models for erection are even more troubling. A 50-ton T-shaped pillar creates uneven weight distribution, with the crossbar weighing 10 to 15 tons positioned at the top. This makes it extremely unstable during any lifting operation. To tilt such a pillar from horizontal to vertical using only ropes and leverage, you need anchor points capable of withstanding forces equivalent to several modern cars pulling simultaneously. The AI showed that natural anchors like trees or boulders would not be sufficient. You would need engineered anchor stones or counterweight systems. But there is no evidence of such engineering at the site. No anchor stones with rope grooves, no counterweight pits, nothing. The AI calculated rope strength requirements as well. The strongest natural fiber ropes available to prehistoric peoples have breaking strengths that engineers have tested extensively. To safely lift a 50-ton load, you need either incredibly thick ropes impossible to coordinate or multiple ropes, working in parallel with sophisticated load distribution. The margin for error would be razor thin. One failed rope and the entire pillar crashes down, destroying years of carving work instantly. Yet across 20 enclosures and over 200 pillars, there is no evidence of catastrophic failures. No broken pillars.
T-shaped pillar buried at the site, he soon found more of these massive structures.
No signs they ever got it wrong. The neural networks analyzed socket depths and pillar bases, measuring how deeply each monolith was set into the ground. The sockets were engineered with remarkable precision, each one calculated to provide exactly the right stability for its specific pillar, accounting for the weight distribution of that particular T-shape. This level of customization suggests advanced planning and mathematical calculation that should not exist in this time period. The physics does not work. The engineering leaves no trace. And yet the pillars stand there, perfect and undamaged, as if the laws of possibility did not apply to whoever built them. The message in the stars. Then the AI turned its attention to something hiding in plain sight. Something that would reveal the most disturbing truth of all. Using pattern recognition algorithms trained on astronomical data, the neural networks began analyzing the spatial relationships between pillars, the orientations of enclosures, and the positioning of specific carved symbols. What it found was so precise, so mathematically elegant, that at first the researchers thought it had to be a glitch in the software. The AI detected that the centers of the three oldest enclosures, when connected, form a perfect equilateral triangle. The sides of this triangle are equal to within fractions of an inch over distances of hundreds of feet. To achieve this requires understanding of complex geometry and the ability to measure long distances over uneven ground with perfect accuracy. Remember, these people supposedly did not have rulers, compasses, or even a way to write down numbers. Yet they were, executing geometric layouts that would not be matched until the Greeks developed advanced mathematics thousands of years later. But the AI went deeper. It analyzed the carved animal reliefs not for their artistic merit, but for their astronomical significance. Using its database of star positions throughout history and comparing them to the positions and orientations of specific carvings, the algorithm found something that made the research team go silent when they saw the results. The animals carved on the pillars correspond to constellations. Not modern constellations, but the stars as they would have appeared over 11,000 years ago in an ancient sky. The fox carvings align with what we now call Sirius. The scorpion matches the constellation Scorpius. The vulture corresponds to the area we know as Sagittarius. But here is what truly terrifies researchers. These are not just random star maps. The AI detected that they are showing a specific date, a specific moment in time, preserved in stone. When the neural networks reconstructed the night sky for the exact positions indicated by the carvings, they landed on a date approximately 12,800 years ago. That date corresponds almost exactly to the beginning of the Younger Dryas impact event, a period when evidence suggests a comet or its fragments struck Earth, causing catastrophic global devastation, massive floods, sudden climate shifts, the extinction of numerous species, the collapse of human populations across multiple continents. The famous Pillar 43, known as the Vulture Stone, shows a scene that researchers have debated for years. It depicts a vulture hovering above a headless human figure surrounded by other animals and symbols. The AI astronomical analysis reveals this is not mythology or ritual art. It is a historical record, a permanent memorial carved in stone documenting the moment the sky fell, when something from space brought destruction to the world. The warning. But the A. I found something even more disturbing in the pattern of symbols. Using machine learning trained on cyclical data and temporal patterns, the algorithms detected that the carvings do not just record a single event. They encode a warning about recurring cycles. The arrangement of certain symbols, the repetition of specific patterns across different enclosures, the mathematical relationships between pillar positions, all of it points to an understanding that these catastrophic events follow a pattern, a cosmic rhythm that repeats over vast spans of time. The AI calculated that the spacing and arrangement of symbolic elements correspond to the precession of the equinoxes.
The equinoxes and the solstices have moved on a day in the last 75 years.
The 25,920-year cycle of Earth's axial wobble. This is astronomical knowledge that was not supposed to exist until ancient Greek astronomers documented it thousands of years later. But here it is, encoded in stone at Göbekli Tepe, suggesting that the builders understood not just that disaster had struck, but that it would strike again, following a pattern as predictable as the seasons, but measured in epochs rather than years. Think about what this means. These were not primitive people engaging in superstitious ritual. They were scientists of their age, trying to preserve critical information. A warning for future civilizations. A message that says this happened before, it will happen again, and you need to be ready. And here is the truly horrifying part that the AI analysis revealed. If their calculations were correct, if the pattern they encoded is real, then according to the cyclical timeline preserved in stone, we may be approaching another turning point in that cosmic cycle within the next few decades. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe around 8000 BCE was not abandonment. The site was carefully filled in with thousands of tons of soil and rubble, an enormous undertaking that would have required massive coordinated effort. The AI analysis of the fill layers shows they were placed methodically, almost lovingly, preserving the structures perfectly. This was not destruction, it was protection. Why would you bury something you spent centuries building unless you knew you could not maintain it? Unless you knew your culture was declining, your knowledge slipping away, and you wanted to preserve the most important message you had for whoever came next? The network. The AI analysis has now been extended to sister sites across the region, and what it is finding makes the mystery even larger. At Karahan Tepe, fully revealed in the 2025 excavation season, there is a 17-meter-wide circular structure with 3 tiers of stone benches arranged in concentric rings. At the center stand carved T-shaped pillars. Around the perimeter are additional pillars still standing. But what caught the AI's attention were carved sculptures integrated directly into the walls. Not separate pieces added later, but faces and figures emerging from the stone structure itself, carved as part of the original construction. When the AI compared the symbolic systems across all these sites, it found both remarkable similarities and distinct local variations. The same core symbols appear everywhere, the same animal motifs, the same T-shaped pillars, the same geometric layouts, but each site has variations like different dialects of the same language. This suggests a connected network of communities sharing fundamental knowledge but maintaining individual identities. A sophisticated regional culture operating across southeastern Turkey 11,500 years ago, coordinating labor, exchanging ideas, preserving and transmitting specialized knowledge across generations. The AI calculated the minimum population sizes and organizational complexity required to build and maintain this network of sites. The numbers do not match our models of pre-agricultural societies. You need food surpluses to support specialists. You need social structures to coordinate labor. You need systems for preserving and transmitting technical knowledge. You need all the infrastructure we think requires settled agricultural civilization. But this network existed before agriculture was supposedly established, before permanent villages, before any of the foundations we consider necessary for complex society. Some researchers argue that these sites actually catalyzed the development of agriculture, that the need to support large gatherings for ritual construction drove people to develop more intensive food production. But this still does not explain where the initial knowledge came from. The astronomical understanding, the advanced geometry, the stonework techniques that appear fully formed with no learning curve, the truth. The AI analysis suggests we are not looking at the beginning of something. We are looking at the end. Perhaps what we see at Göbekli Tepe is not the birth of civilization, but the twilight of a previous one. The last remnants of people who once knew how to build in stone, who understood the movements of the stars and the cycles of cosmic catastrophe, gradually losing their knowledge as generations passed and the world moved on without them. The deliberate burial of these sites takes on new meaning in this context. They were not just closing down temples, they were creating time capsules, preserving the most critical knowledge and the most important warnings in the most durable form they could imagine, buried under tons of earth to protect them from weathering, from destruction, from being lost, waiting for a future civilization that might develop the technology to find them, excavate them, and hopefully understand the message before it is too late. And now we have found them. We have excavated them. We have scanned them with technology that can see details invisible to the human eye. We have analyzed them with artificial intelligence that can detect patterns across thousands of data points simultaneously. The AI has decoded architectural relationships, astronomical alignments, symbolic systems, and technical capabilities that challenge everything we thought we knew about prehistoric humanity. The scans have revealed tool marks that do not match known Stone Age technology, precision that should not be possible without modern instruments, knowledge that supposedly would not exist for thousands of years, evidence of declining capabilities suggesting inheritance rather than innovation. The three-dimensional models have documented construction methods we cannot fully explain, logistics we cannot reproduce, and engineering that challenges modern capabilities. 12,000 years ago, someone carved a message in stone, a warning meant to survive millennia. Now, artificial intelligence has finally given us the eyes to read it, but understanding is another matter. The patterns point to cycles, to knowledge we were never supposed to have, to catastrophes that may come again. The stones are patient, but time is not. The question is no longer what they meant. It's whether we are ready to face what comes next. And if we fail to listen, history may have no mercy for our ignorance.